Hello, I am Margaret. I have a very inspiring story for those who are fat shamed and feel miserable about it. Thing is that a couple of years ago, I was famous in my school as Fat Maggie, and now everyone wants to date me. Unbelievably, I didn't need to lose a kilo to get such an effect. Here is the story of my life. I have always been overweight. My family all in all is quite a slender one, and no one actually knows why I was born plump. They thought it would pass over the years. It didn't. I didn't overeat, and I was a very active girl. I have been doing lots of active sports since my early childhood. My parents thought that maybe I had some intestinal or hormone problems and took me to the doctors, but with no results. They gave up. I actually wasn't suffering my condition and didn't even consider it a condition. When I went to school, I stood out of the crowd at once. You know how cruel kids may be, and they tried to mock me. Unfortunately, they didn't know that apart from being a lump of fat, as they called me, I was also a great deal of muscles. I was already doing rugby and karate, and after a couple of broken noses, my classmates learned some respect towards the Big M. After all, it wasn't that bad. Slowly but steadily, I became the part of the group, and everybody respected me. I don't know if it was because they liked me or because they knew I would beat them up. I even made some friends and lived my life happily until I had to go to high school, where I had no one I knew. That meant I had to start it all over again. Well, I hope that everyone was more adult now, and they wouldn't mind my looks. After all, it's stupid to gain respect beating your classmates, right? I was both right and wrong. On the one hand, no one called me a lump of fat anymore. On the other hand, instead of direct offenses, I got back-talking and disgusted looks. Those were times when fitness got very trendy and everyone spent their evenings in the gym. I was still doing lots of sports, and a couple of times I tried to explain to people I was not a lazy couch potato. I was actually an athlete. But they didn't believe me. Why would I need to justify myself with those people after all? They got accustomed to my looks, but unfortunately I didn't get any socialization. I was called Fat Maggie and became one of the school freaks. Sad, but true. Worst thing is that at some point, everyone started dating, and I was totally excluded from the process. I knew a couple of boys like me, but they would never approach me because who would date Fat Maggie? Thing is, apart from being overweight, I have always had a well-trained body, and more importantly, a pretty face. So I found the whole situation extremely unfair. I remember the day that changed my life very clearly. One of my cousins had an ambition to become a model, so she went to a casting made by a big scouting agency. She was nervous and asked me to accompany her. I thought how I would look among those fitness bunnies and felt pretty miserable, but the girl clearly needed support. So as we came there, she went into the audience hall nearly at once while I was waiting for her in the hallway. Suddenly, a woman with the agency badge came to me and asked if I was waiting for the casting as well. Who, me? No, of course not. I am here with my cousin. Would you like to try? I laughed. Me, a model? Can't you see I'm overweight? She smiled and answered, "Have you ever heard of plus-size modeling?" This was the phrase that changed my life forever. I actually didn't believe her, but as I was already there, I decided to give it a try. Everyone who was doing casting got very interested when they saw me. Such a pretty face, nice curves. I got a couple of shots and they said I was a natural. Me, Fat Maggie, with an exquisite hairdo and makeup, advertising evening dresses. No way! I started taking modeling classes in the same agency, and believe it or not, but after a couple of months, I already got 2 ad contracts. Best part of it was when my pic was posted as an ad of a big shop in our local mall. You need to have seen the faces of my schoolmates. Suddenly turned out that with a bit of makeup and expensive clothes, I stopped being a fat outcast and became an attractive young woman. Obviously, my popularity rocketed. Everyone wanted to make friends or date with me. But you know what? I didn't want them to accept me anymore. I had lots of interesting work ahead, seeing the world and making new friends. I still study at that school and work at the same time. And there is a very important thing that I learned that I want to share. If you are not accepted because of your looks, you are not the problem. They are the problem. There is a world out there that is ready to accept you. You just need to make a step forward. If you know someone who is suffering from being overweight, please share this video with them. Ask him to share his story in the comments. After all, there are lots of us who just need a word of support.